Srimad Bhagavatam 5.110. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. My dear King Parikshit, because Lord Brahma had finally descended from Satyaloka to Bhuloka, Narada Muni, Prince Priyavrata, and Swayambhuva Manu came forward to offer him objects of worship and to praise him in highly qualified language according to Vedic etiquette. At that time, Lord Brahma, the original person of this universe, felt compassion for Priyavrata and looking upon him with a smiling face, spoke to him as follows. Purport. That Lord Brahma descended from Satyaloka to see Priyavrata indicates that the matter was very serious. Narada Muni had come to advise Priyavrata about the value of spiritual life, knowledge, renunciation, and bhakti. And Lord Brahma knew that Narada's instructions were very impressive. Therefore, unless Lord Brahma personally went to Gandhamadana Hill to request Priyavrata, King Priyavrata, Lord Brahma knew that Prince Priyavrata would not accept his father's order. Brahma's purpose was to break Priyavrata's determination. Therefore, Brahma first looked upon Priyavrata with compassion. Smile and compassionate features also indicated that although Brahma would request Priyavrata to accept household life, Priyavrata would not be out of touch with devotional service. The blessings of a Vaishnava, everything is possible, thus it is described in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu as Kripa Siddhi, or perfection attained simply by the blessings of a superior person. One usually becomes liberated and perfect by executing the regular principles set down in the Shastras. Nonetheless, many persons have achieved perfection simply by the blessings of a spiritual master or superior. Priyavrata was the grandson of Lord Brahma, and his joking competition sometimes takes place between grandson and grandfather. In this case, also Priyavrata was determined to remain in meditation, whereas Brahma was determined that he ruled the universe. Thus, Lord Brahma's affectionate smile and glance met, "My dear Priyavrata, you should have decided not to accept household life, but I decided to convince you that you must accept it." Although Brahma had come to praise Priyavrata for his high standard of renunciation, austerity, penance, and devotion, so that he would not be deviated from devotional service, even though he would accept household life. In this verse, one important word is Shukta Vakena by Vedic and hymns. In the Vedas, there is the following prayers to Lord Brahma: Haranyagarbha Samavartatagre Bhutasya Jata Patir Eka Asit. Brahma was received with the appropriate Vedic hymns, and because he was welcomed according to the Vedic etiquette, he was very pleased. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Jatam Palakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Cha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadhaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamscha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Svaminiti Namine Namaste Sarasvate Deve Gauravani Prachadine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatnyadeshatarine. So, he was welcomed according to Vedic etiquette, and thus was pleased. So, if one is not welcomed according to Vedic etiquette, will they be very pleased? If they're treated like scum, or like a dog, will they reciprocate in the same way as somebody receives them in Vedic etiquette? There's obviously differences. Vedic etiquette is based on loving reciprocation. Even Krishna says, inasmuch as they surrender to me, I reward them accordingly. So we not only surrender to Krishna, we also surrender to the devotees of Krishna. And according to how much we're in that mood of loving service to the Vaishnavas, to that extent they reciprocate with us. So therefore we pray, Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanang pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. I offer my respectful obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord, who are just like desire trees who can fulfill the desires of everyone, and they are full of compassion upon the fallen conditioned souls. So the question is then, if somebody is not full of compassion for the fallen conditioned souls, are they a Vaishnava or not? That's an interesting question. Well, there's different levels of Vaishnavas. The answer is yes and no. There's Kanishta Adhikari, Madhyama Adhikari, and Uttama Adhikari. Kanishta just thinks about himself. He can't think about others. The Madhyama, he thinks about others. He wants to preach. And the Uttama is fully realized Krishna. You see? So even those who are not full of compassion for the fallen souls are also considered to be Vaishnavas, but of a lower standard than those who actually feel compassion, who want to spread this movement, who want to make the whole world Krishna conscious. They are in a higher standing than those who just practice for their own advancement. So there's many, many nice points here. It's pretty interesting. Wow. Lord Brahma came all the way down. Just imagine what a special person this Priyavrata is. Just imagine if Lord Brahma came all around to give you an instruction. The head of our whole sampradaya thought, well, this is such important, I will come all the way down to planet Earth to give instruction to this disciple. Just imagine the caliber of disciple was Priyavrata. Lord Brahma personally came to instruct him. You see. He's the head of our sampradaya, and we get his instruction actually is just as good, saying, well, but I'm not as lucky as Priyavrata. I'm not getting instructions from Brahma. No, we are just as fortunate as Priyavrata because we are getting the instructions from Srila Prabhupada. Should never feel like, oh, I got left out, you know. I can't really be Krishna conscious. I was left out, you know. I didn't get the same mercy as Priyavrata. No. We have the mercy. You say, well, I'm not a Prabhupada disciple. I really know. Prabhupada is fully present. He says, these books are the law books for the next 10,000 years. So whoever embraces Prabhupada's instructions as their very life and soul, they are intimately connected with Srila Prabhupada and every acharya in our disciplic succession, all the way to Brahmaji and to Krishna himself. So the point is, nobody is left out. Nobody is left out. There's a saying, there's a popular saying now, an equal opportunity employer. So Krishna is an equal opportunity employer. Everybody has an equal chance to get his intimate contact, intimate associations. So nobody can really cheat us, you see. The only person who can really cheat us is ourselves, you see. Because Krishna is there behind everything. Nobody can stand between Krishna and us, you see. Nobody can cheat us out of Krishna's Sangha except for ourselves, you see. Because Krishna is there within every atom, between every atom. Sarvasya chaham sarisannavishto mutakvasir pat. I am the source of all spiritual. Aham sarvasya brahava mutaksarvam. Aham sarvasya brahava mutaksarvam prapartate iti madvabadam iti madvabajante mang buddhavava saman vitaham. I am the source of material and spiritual worlds. Everything emanates from me. The wise who know this perfectly engage in my devotional service and worship me with all their hearts. You see. So Krishna is the source of everything. Even our very bodies are Krishna's emanated energy. You cannot actually disconnect from Krishna because Krishna is everywhere. You see. Only by your mentality can be disconnected. That's the problem. Our mentality is the problem, these damn minds, you see. That's the problem. We have these minds that are standing in the way, you see. It's like manasa vegam, you see, the urges of the mind, pulling us here, pulling us there. Pulling us, manas, manana, satatam kirtayanta mang yatantas chidabitaha. From whatever the mind wanders, due to its flickering and unsteady nature, it wants suddenly bring it back under the control of the self. You control your mind, it becomes very nice. A controlled mind is a very, very wonderful thing to have. What is that verse? Yata dipo navatstasto ningate supamasmita yogino yatittasha yunjato yamatmanaha. From one whose mind is steady as a lamp in a windless place does not waver, so the transcendentalist's mind is controlled, remains always fixed in the meditation of the transcendent self. Well, who is that transcendent self? Well, there's two of them. One with the small s, the other with the big S, you see. The small s is you and me. The self with the small s is the Atma, but then the big s, that's Paramatma, Krishna himself. So he remains always steady on realizing I'm not this body, I'm spirit soul, I'm the eternal servant of Krishna, and Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So meditation of the transcendent self includes all of those. You see. I'm not the body, I'm spirit soul, I'm the eternal servant of Krishna, Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. You see. Krishna stu Bhagavan Svayam. So how to become like a lamp in a windless place? That is the big challenge, you see. Indriyanam hicharatam yanmano nuvadiyate tatashahati pragyam vayarvamibambasi. You see, the boat in the water is swept away by a strong wind. That's the trouble. Our minds are like a boat in the water being swept away by a strong wind. It's like you have a sailboat, you're trying to come into the shore, and all of a sudden this huge wind, the huge wind drives you miles and miles out to sea, you see. So that's the problem, being driven away by the winds of Maya, isn't it? Being driven away by the winds of Maya, far, far away from Krishna, far, far away from Prabhupada, far, far away from Lord Chaitanya, Lord Nityananda, all these great acharyas, the mind of Maya driving us far, far, far away, far out from the reach of the spiritual atmosphere. We're so far out, we came through the coverings. Can you imagine? Where our minds carried us so far, we actually penetrated the coverings between the material and the spiritual world. It's not an easy covering to break, you see. But our minds were so contaminated, we actually broke through that covering between the spiritual and material worlds. You see. It's amazing how much we've come down into the material realm, you see. That's why after hearing from Prabhupada about the wonderful abode of Krishna, now we're Krishna Loka dreaming on a hellish nightmare day in this material world. Dreaming that Krishna Loka, that place where Krishna is there, the gopis are there, the gopas are there. Everybody has eternal bodies, never get sick, never get old, never die. There's no worry about air pollution, water pollution, taxes, terrorists. There's no need of canes or wheelchairs. Everybody is a youth, totally youthful of energy. Everything's beautiful. It's like a jewel-laden place. It's so beautiful. Everything, the touchstone is there. The desire trees, kalpavrikshas. You see, it's all there. Krishna Loka dreaming on a hellish nightmare day. So, the nice thing about this Krishna conscious movement is a dream come true, you see. By following the pathway, you see, Acharya Patta, the pathway of the Acharyas. By following this pathway of the Acharyas is a solid highway, a solid roadway back to that original home in the spiritual sky, you see, where no one ever dies. It's a wonderful abode. Eternal youth. There's no gray hair there. You see. Like some of us gray-haired. There's no gray hair in the spiritual world. No gray-haired hearing aids or glasses. It's a wonderful place, you see. So we can learn from the pages, from Prabhupada's wonderful mercy. I just keep remembering, reading the Lamrita, what struggles Prabhupada went through. Prabhupada went through so many struggles, but in spite of it, he's always steadily writing these purports. No place to live. His dictaphone and typewriter were stolen, and still he somehow continued this work. Can you imagine? Even in America, he went through 7 places before he got a solid place. 7 places. They moved here, move, with no president home. He stayed with the Butlers, the Agrawals and Butler. He stayed with that slick uptown Mayapur sannyasi in Manhattan. Then he moved into his yoga studio. He was too much, so he moved away to his yoga studio a few blocks away. And then from there he moved to his own room so he could do his own thing. And then somebody stole his stuff from there. Then he went to, he shared what's called an artist loft with one spaced out hippie who went crazy on LSD. It's just one thing after another, but the Prabhupada purports still the Prabhupada purports. The Bhaktivedanta purports still on the Bhaktivedanta purports. And then so many struggles he went through, heart attacks, this and that, one thing after another, you see. And in the old days, everybody could walk into his room anytime and associate, but still he would find time in the middle of the night when nobody came to visit him. Bhaktivedanta purports. If you see how much love and how much devotion Prabhupada went into every single word of these purports, you see, then you can understand, here's the way I connect with Prabhupada. Just I had the good fortune of getting some letters from Prabhupada. But it's the same thing as the purports. But just remembering even one sentence of Prabhupada's words to me, it's kept me going for these 53 years, you see. I see you're a very sincere and enthusiastic boy. Now continue enthusiastically as you were doing, and surely Krishna will bless you. Those words is some flowery language that convinced me to stay in the movement. No, they're factual, scientific facts. Krishna will, the more I have this enthusiasm to push toward this movement in every way, within my own heart, in the hearts of the conditioned souls, throughout the entire material existence, that Krishna reciprocates with that enthusiasm. It's a fact. He reciprocates. Prabhupada guaranteed it, and Krishna stands by Prabhupada's words, you see. So it's and the same mercy, the same as nectar is right there in all these purports. We take even one line from these purports as our life and soul. So let's look at some of this stuff here. One thing is, well, what about household life, you know? Have a wife, and then you get some kids, and where's your Krishna consciousness? Some people say, you better to stay brahmachari, forget about married life, it's Maya, you know. Don't fall into Maya and get married. I mean, it's a disaster to get married, you know. It's a big, big disaster to get married. But here it's seen that actually Brahma was trying to convince him to get married. You see. So married life or celibate life, either one can be used in Krishna's service, as confirmed here. Either one can be used. But the standard is to be Krishna conscious, you see. Near the house, and confirmed by Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Grihi Thakur Vane, you see, what is it? Grihi Thakur Vane Thakur, Sadahari Bole Thakur. And his nice song, Goy Gor Madhur Sfere. Grihi Thakur Vane Thakur, whether you're married or you're renounced, living in one of those fancy uptown apartments, or you're living under a tree, a different tree every night, always chant Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And he continues, he says, Suke Duke Bula Loka Vanana Hare Nam Kurure. Whether you're happy, whether you're feeling, you're blissing out or miserable as hell, with a sick body or whatever, you see, do not forget, just fill your lips for the holy name. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. And what is the inspiration? What is the inspiration for all of us chanting? He says, Gaya Gaur Madhur Sfere. Lord Chaitanya is chanting with very sweet voice. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. You see, this whole movement is based on song. Even in further reflection, even the whole 60s, the hippie movement was based on music. There's different songs that actually were the energy of the whole hippie movement. So that's a further reflection. But here in the real sense, you see, this beautiful song coming in the lips of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, this is the energy, the power, the driving power of this Krishna consciousness movement, which will eventually inundate the entire universe, the entire material existence will become inundated by this mercy of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. You see. It's a tidal wave of love of God. Prema Sarovara. It's a huge tidal wave of love of God, emanating from what place? Mayapur. This is the place that's got huge, like a huge fountain coming out. We're in that place where it's all coming over the whole material existence. Can you imagine how fortunate we are to be in Mayapur? This place from which it's all, this huge tidal wave in all directions, inundating the entire, not only this one universe, this is a little teeny weeny universe. Rama has how many heads? 4. Very tiny little universes. Universe with 40 heads, 400 heads, 4,000 heads, 40,000 heads, 400,000 heads, 4 million heads, 400 million heads, 400 billion heads, like that goes on unlimitedly. How many universes are on the latest count? Infinity sign. That's how many. Why is there so many universes, you could ask? This is a prison. Why are there so many different? Why are there so many different? Why are there so many universes? This is how many different prisons, you say. Why is there some? Because there's an infinite number of living entities that's fallen down to material existence. That's why. Infinite number. So you got to have a place for them to go. There's an infinite universes. So they all have a place to take shelter and try to enjoy separately from Krishna. And as we mentioned many times before, what is the first birth a living entity takes? Brahma. So that means there has to be an infinite number of universes. Everybody gets a chance to have their own universe when they fall down from the spiritual world. So each one of us sitting here today in this room at Saki Nivas E1, and everybody who's tuned in online, to all 31 who are tuned in online, we are all Brahmas with 40 heads, 400 heads, or whatever. Each one of us, each one of you is a Brahma, and you had your own universe, but you weren't happy that way. We were not satisfied being a Brahmaji, because it's no fun being a Brahmaji unless you're a pure devotee like our Brahma is. You see. Then it's okay. But a non-devotee Brahma, it's like a nightmare. Being a non-devotee Brahma is a nightmarish condition, just like being a worm on the stool, to be honest with you. Well, I have my own universe, but the worm has his own piece of stool also. You see? What if I have my own piece of juicy stool I can squirm around in? It's like Brahma's like no better than me, a worm and a piece of stool. It's no better than that. You see, really, isn't that horribly disgusting? Being a worm and a stool. But being a Brahma, non-devotee Brahma, is no better than being a worm in the stool. You see? So, but now after so many different experiments to try to enjoy in so many different ways, now we have what's called the human form. Now we have the opportunity to get out of this madness, out of this nightmare. Now we can actually dream about Krishna Loka. Yeah, I'm going back to Krishna Loka, going home. Why do we have this thing, back to home? Why don't we just have back to Godhead? Or even why we say, why even back? Because that's our home. We all came from there, you see. So now we're on that pathway going back to home, back to God, back to where we once belonged. From that place we should never have left. We were so stupid to have left, but Krishna has not forgotten about us. He's come here to reclaim us. He sent great acharyas like Srila Prabhupada, Bhakti Siddhanta, Gaurkishore Babaji, so many great, the Goswami, Rupa, Sanatan, you see. Raghunath Bhatta, Raghunath Das, Jiva Goswami, you see. And all these great personalities like Lokanath Maharaj, so many great personalities. He said, Narottam Das Thakur has given us so many beautiful songs, you see. Bhakti Vinod Thakur. He's given us all these great authorities, these great liberated personalities have come down to this place of stool and urine and vomit and blood. They've come down here to give us their kindness, their mercy upon us. To get out of this hellish, horrible condition, you see. So wonderful, so sweet, you see. So we should not lament about our fallen condition. We should celebrate the fact that now we're being liberated, you see. Somebody's sitting in the jail cell lamenting, oh, here I'm locked in this prison, it's so horrible, it's so depressing. But then the word has come, you're being released from the prison. So even though I'm still in my cell, I just got the news, I'm being released this afternoon from my prison cell. I'm not even worried anymore, I'm all ecstatic. I'm still locked in the cell, but I'm told I'm being released this afternoon. Well, I'm in bliss, I'm jumping around in ecstasy. Even though I'm still in the cell, and it's still locked, but I know this afternoon I'm getting out of this damn place. Going to be a liberated soul. So here we are in a suffering condition. We got the news, we're getting out of here. You see? Being liberated by the mercy of our spiritual master and these great acharyas are being liberated, so now we can dance in ecstasy. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Let's see if we have any questions coming in the chat window. Nothing on the chat window. Does anybody have any questions, or we can keep diving a little deeper into this sublime nectarian ocean of Srimad Bhagavatam? Let's see what else we may have here. So much. I mean, we could write a whole book, actually. There's so much in this purport. If you go deep in this, there's so many points here. You can go deep in every point. Let's just take another point and dive into it. Lord Brahma, the original person of the universe, felt compassion and Priyabhakta, and looking upon him with a smiling face, spoke to him as follows. There's different kinds of smiles. The smile of the materialist also. I remember there's a saying I heard, it's called a stool-eating grin. Like the pig is all, he's smiling, he sees some fresh stool, he's wagging his little tail, and he has a big grin, he's going after the stool. This is not that kind of smile yet. We see this smile in Prabhupada's face, you see. Seeing when Prabhupada smiled, it was like It was the most wonderful experience to see Prabhupada's smiling face. And all the pictures are there, you can see, you can relish how Prabhupada is smiling. He could be very sober and very detached, or he could have a big, beautiful, loving smile of compassion. So the smile of a pure devotee is not an ordinary smile of someone trying to enjoy this material world. It's a smile of love and compassion. Actually, it's Krishna's smile coming through the face of his pure devotee. That's one point. Prince Priyavata and Swayambhuva Manu came forward to offer objects of worship. So the question is, why is Swayambhuva Manu in this whole pastime? Why is Narada Muni here? What are they doing here? There's Brahma, there's Priyavata, there's Narada Muni, there's Swayambhuva Manu. Why are they all here? There's a whole group of them have gotten together. For what purpose? Why not just Brahmaji and Priyavata? Why have Narada Muni and Swayambhuva Manu there? Let's see what it says in the purport. Let's see. Well, one thing is, Brahma knew that Narada's instructions are very impressive. But Priyavata wasn't taking him. Doesn't that happen sometimes? The spiritual master gave the instruction, no. I know it's a good instruction, but I'm not ready to follow it. Doesn't that happen sometimes? The spiritual master gives an order, but no, I'm not really ready to follow it, So then somebody else comes to help us make it understandable and why we should do it, you see. Lord Brahma personally came to Gandhamandani hill to request Priyavata, knew that the prince would not accept his father's order. That must have been Swayambhuva Manu, right? I remember all the details. That must have been Swayambhuva Manu was the father. Yeah, must have been it. But he couldn't reject the grandfather's order. It's a nice point, isn't it? My father's order, there was a saying, familiarity breeds contempt. I'm going to take my father, when the grandfather comes, you have to follow the grandfather, you see. So Brahmaji is the grandfather, Swayambhuva appears to be the father. Here's another nice point about Brahmaji's smile. His smile and compassionate features. What does that mean, compassionate features? Isn't the smile and compassionate features? Now, that means the other features beside the smiling face can indicate compassion as well. That's interesting. We can understand a merciful smile. That's pretty not hard for us to understand with our Kali Yuga brains. But compassionate features? What does that mean? His body? What do we call that in modern day term? Body language. So not only the smile expression, but the whole body language expression. And the Prabhupada certainly is an expert at body language. I mean, every square inch of Prabhupada expressed something. Prabhupada's body, he was the perfection of body language. He could teach by his smile, by his words, by his attitude, by his body language also. He could express perfectly. So here we're talking about body language, not just the smile. His smile and compassionate features also indicated that all Brahma would request Priyavata to accept household life. Priyavata would not be out of touch with devotional service. And how? By the blessings of a Vaishnava, everything is possible. That's interesting. It seems to indicate that normally household life means you're finished. Your spiritual life is finished. It's all over. You got married, it's done. It's all over. It's finished now. It's all over now, Prabhu. You got married, it's all finished. Your spiritual life is ruined. You got married. You went into the dark well, it's all over, finished. You cut your own throat, you got married, it's all over now, finished. But what does Prabhupada say? But by the blessings of Vaishnava, everything is possible. So by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, the Vaishnava Acharyas, even in the dark well of household life, you can still be Krishna conscious. Just in a mundane example, you're here in the dark well, somebody drops a lamp down in the takes a rope, to take a rope and drop a lamp down into the well. Light up an electric lamp, they drop a bulb down into the well, so it's all lit up. You're still in the well, but it's now been illuminated by the mercy of the Vaishnava, you see. And we shouldn't be very proud that, yeah, I'm a brahmachari or sannyasi. Actually, we're all in the dark well. Let's face the facts. In this Kali Yuga, we're all in the dark well. We're either brahmachari, grihastha, vanaprastha, sannyasi. We're all in the dark well of illusion, coming out of the land of sense enjoyment. We're not like, sadhus in the Vedic age. And the first devotees who were leaders of our movement, they're all hippies who were having intoxication and free sex, and then became sannyasis. So, by the mercy of Vaishnava, everything is possible. You see. Everything is possible. So how much we should appreciate the mercy of the Vaishnavas, you see. When I joined ISKCON, we had only group Mangalarti. No Tulsi worship, no Guru Puja. Prabhupada introduced gradually. Of course, in the beginning there was not even Mangalarti. I came later on in 71. Now we had Mangalarti. And then a new thing was introduced, Tulsi worship. A plant? It was some new thing for us. We knew about worshiping marijuana plants, but worshiping a Tulsi plant? We worship also peyote cactus. We worshiped that too. Hallucinogenic cactus plant. That was worshipful for us. Peyote and marijuana. But worshiping a plant for pure devotional service, yeah, we learned from Prabhupada. She's actually a pure devotee, a pure devotee, a goddess of Vrindavan, who has mercifully come in the form of a plant. We can you imagine directly associating with Vrinda Devi herself? Can you imagine directly associating with Vrinda Devi, the goddess of Vrindavan? Yes, she appears in the form of a plant. So you can actually touch her lotus root. It's like touching her lotus feet. Circumambulate her, bow down to her, pray for her mercy. So that was introduced. It's about 71. And then 2 years later, during the Mayapur festival, something new, Guru Puja. In the beginning, there was no book distribution also, just the first, Prabhupada said everybody should go on Sankirtan. It meant Harinam. We later on renamed it Harinams. In the beginning, Sankirtan meant chanting and dancing on the street. There was no book distribution when I first joined. Prabhupada said go on Sankirtan every day. It means chant and dance on the streets in ecstasy. But then later on, the greater Sankirtan was the books, Brihad Madanga. So now we have both. We have the Brihad Madanga and we have the traditional Madanga. Both things are there. So Prabhupada gradually introduced. So this is a gradual process of going through all the stages. What are those stages? First you have faith, right? I think there must be a God. It makes sense there's a God. Even the Aborigines worship is some God they imagine. So the idea there's a superior person behind everything, that's called Shraddha. And then you come in contact with the sadhu. Oh, wow. This person actually represents God. Wow, that's wonderful. So you associate with that sadhu. You hear from him, you serve him, sadhu sangha, and then what does he do? Engages in devotional service, bhajana kriya. Sadhu sangha, shraddha, sadhu sangha, bhajana kriya, and then what does the sadhu say? No more illicit sex, no more meditation, no gambling, anartana vritti, you see. And then you become fixed up. We used to have a called nishta in Sanskrit. In the early days of ISKCON, we used to say, he's a fixed up devotee, Prabhu. He's fixed up. That was a real compliment in the old days. He's really fixed up, you see. Either fixed up or you're on the, getting ready to bloop. We call it blooping. Like when somebody's on a boat and they fall back into the ocean, bloop, when they hit the water, it makes a sound bloop. So you're either fixed up or you're about ready to bloop. One of the two, you see. So then you get to become nishta, fixed up. You see. And then And then what is, you get ruchi, you get taste. You fix, now you start to really taste something really sweet here. Oh, it tastes really sweet, sweeter than anything else in the material world. This Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. How sweet it is. Sweeter than the sweetest honey, you see. Sweet, sweet. We have that little poem, that poem. Remember that poem in the Vyasa Puja book one year? Famous poem written by one of our sannyasis. Sweet, sweet, what a treat, can't be beat. Those two lotus feet, about Prabhupada's. Sweet, sweet, what a treat, can't be beat. Those two lotus feet. And there were some more verses, I forget the other verses. But the fact that pure devotee, his sangha is very, very sweet, you see. It gives so much satisfaction to associate with the pure devotee. You taste, you get some ruchi, some taste. And then what happens, you become very attached. Where you're getting the nectar, where you're tasting the nectar, you get more and more attached to it. The more you taste the nectar, it's called a sakti. The more you taste the nectar, you become attached. Just like a little baby, he gets that breast, the mother's breast is nothing sweeter than the mother's breast, you see. But then the more he sucks her breast, the more he becomes attached to the mother, isn't it? The more he sucks, the more he becomes attached. He sucks some more, more attached, sucks some more, become more attached, more attached, more attached, more attached. So from ruchi comes a sakti, or attachment, you see. And then you enter, and then you start, and then you go to what's called the preliminary state of love of God. It's not fully there yet, it's the preliminary state of pure love of God. Bhava. You start to have like a volcanic eruption of emotions from within the heart, you see. Volcanic eruptions of emotions within the heart, you see. You're starting to feel this ecstasy of starting to feel this loving feelings, starting to awaken within you, you see. And then become fully manifest, that's called prema, where Krishna is revealed to you. You can actually see the pastimes happening in the spiritual world. You can actually enter those pastimes in the spiritual world, even while you're here in the material world. You can enter those pastimes, have loving relations with Krishna, the gopis, the cows and the calves, all within your heart. You can actually be back and glow from within within your heart. That's the prema stage, you see. So, how do you get there? One step at a time, y'all. Am I going way over time? I forgot about time. Time and tide wait for no man. Okay, there's no time for questions. I may have gone way over my limit. Any maybe a few? Oh, we go to 9:30, we'll call it quits. How's that? We got 6 minutes left.
Hare Krishna, Srila Gurudev. In the second last paragraph of the purport, it is mentioned that not be deviated from devotional service, austerity, penance and devotion, so that he would not be deviated from devotional service, even though he would accept household life.
Let me find it here. In the
last line.
Last line of the second last paragraph, I'll say, actually Brahma had come to praise Prabhupada for his high standard of renunciation, austerity, penance, and devotion, so that he would not be deviated from devotional service, even though he was, yeah, okay.
In this case, Brahmaji came to Priyavrata for asking him to propagate. In our case, we approach a spiritual master if we are not being able to control our own sense gratification desires. We approach our spiritual master for the permission. So, does both the cases are same?
The permission is there. Why be worried about it? Because you can't control your desires, therefore you ask the permission. Let me think about that. The best thing is not to be overcome by desires. To be overcome by desires is not good. But one has a desire to propagate, not being overcome by the modes are completely overwhelming me, but have a desire. And then I just posted on the internet, my disciple, her husband, they desired to have a child, so they followed strictly the rules and regulations, and they have a very beautiful, wonderful child. So it's not that you feel we're overcome by lusty desires, so we have. No, one should be sober and fixed in Krishna consciousness, but at the same time, one has a desire to have children. That's a different mood than just being overwhelmed by lust. You understand? You feel it's like a mature, sober desire, not overcome by lusty thought desire. Oh, we can't control it. Oh, no. I have a sober, determined desire. I want to serve Krishna in this way. It's like somebody has a talent. You know, they like to cook. They have a very good cook before they join. They want to use that cooking propensity in Krishna's service. So one has a propensity for propagating children, male and female, have the propensity. They may like to use that propensity in Krishna's service. Not that I'm overwhelmed by lust, that kind of movement. When it's overwhelmed by lusty feelings, what kind of kid you're going to get? A little lusty brat, you see. So if you have a sober desire that we want to serve Krishna and please, actually Prabhupada wants us to have Krishna conscious children, to carry on our tradition. We're raised as devotees, like Prabhupada has raised a devotee from the very beginning. So if they want to do that service of being to raise a child and being a devotee from the very beginning, and not being in a sober way, they want to use that propensity in Krishna's service. The spiritual master certainly blesses that. Does that help a little bit? Anything else?
Srila Gurudev, what kind of body do we get even if one gets to go back to Godhead? What kind of body does he get?
Well, that's according to your swarup. You already have a form in the spiritual world. You left it behind to come here to try and enjoy separately. You already have a form in the spiritual world. As a cow, as a calf, as a gopi, as a gopa, as a flute, as a rock, as a peacock, as a tree. Everybody has a swarup already existing. It's already there. He just said, all we're saying is get back to being who you really are.
Do they also have flesh and blood?
Huh?
Do they also have flesh and blood?
Are you kidding? Blood?
No, the gross body? Is it a gross
There's no gross bodies there. They're all spirit. Satchidan, you never know that sloka? Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha. Your body is not composed of muscle, bones, flesh, stool, and urine. It's made of eternity, knowledge, and bliss. Satchidananda Vigraha. As Krishna has a body eternally full of knowledge and bliss, you also have a body eternally full of knowledge and bliss. Satchidananda Vigraha. Krishna has a vigraha of Satchidananda, and you also have a vigraha of eternity, knowledge, and bliss. Okay, one came in. How to receive blessings of Vaishnavas? Hare Krishna. By chanting Hare Krishna. So we'll go ahead and stop here. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.